Next, Wisconsin entrepreneurs pitch their businesses to local moguls. They will compete for over $30,000 in cash and awards to help take their businesses to the next level.
Hello, Wisconsin. Welcome to the Project Pitch It podcast. My name is Kyle Herzog, and I'm the co-founder of Old Fashioned Golf. We make Wisconsin-inspired golf apparel, like you see here. I was also on season 7 of Project Pitch It, getting to talk to the moguls about old-fashioned golf and this apparel that you see. I'm also a little bit obsessed with Wisconsin entrepreneurs and their startup stories and why they started and how and the highs and the lows. And that interest and obsession is what has brought me here to this podcast. So that's what we're going to do on this show. We're going to reach out to those Wisconsin creators, entrepreneurs, and talk about their startup stories and how they got here. So very excited for it. Looking forward to it. Today on the episode, we're going to talk to Camilla and Jaime of LYNKS, and they make chunky knit blankets. Two really inspiring people, did a great job starting that company. We're going to talk about their 96-year-old intern. You'll hear about my inability to pronounce the name of the materials in their product, and then also just some of the really inspiring stories of their customers and how much their product actually means to them. So, exciting story. Looking forward to telling you all about it. Let's get into it. Jaime and Camilla, hello. Welcome to the Project Pitch It podcast. How are you both?
We're great. How are you,
Kyle? Good. Glad to talk to both of you. I told you both I got a sneak peek of your episode this morning. I don't think you've seen, so that's exciting. But we'll talk through that. So, your business. So your business is LYNKS, and you make chunky knit blankets. I love that. I love every word of it. I like the tagline too: handmade for homebodies. I'm a homebody, so this is great. We'll talk a bunch more about your business, the background, all that. Let's start with kind of your personal backgrounds, I'll say. Camilla, let's start with you. Kind of your upbringing, okay. your story.
Awesome. So I was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee, but I lived there for a very, very short stint and moved back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin when I was like 1 year old. And had my whole childhood here in Fox Point and went to Nicolay High School. Grew up playing tennis, went to camp as a kid, went to Argentina and in high school, went to Spain in college. So I'm conversationally fluent in Spanish and went to college at the University of Miami. My mom kind of pushed it on me and to be close to my to be close to, yes, she wanted to visit me down there, but also my grandparents lived down in Fort Lauderdale. So I went to school in Miami and was able to be close to them and really be able to use my Spanish. I majored in marketing and with a minor in Spanish. And then, do you want me to keep going on, or is
that's good? That's great. That's a good summary. And I know your grandparents you mentioned, I know they factor into the business too. So we'll get back to that too. Jaime, how about you?
Yes. So I'm born and raised in New York, and I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison for my undergrad, not knowing I was going to wind up here for the long haul. I went to University of Miami for law school right after graduating college. And I met my husband, who grew up with Camilla. They were lifelong friends. They were both in Miami, obviously. So I started dating my husband the first week of law school. We've been together ever since. So I've known her as long as I've known him, which is over 20, I don't know, like almost 25 years probably at this point. So lived in Miami, got married in Miami, was working in Miami, and then up and moved to Milwaukee probably 16, 17 years ago now. Started having a bunch of kids, continued my law career, stopped practicing law, opened up an event space. So I do have another business. It's called The Box. And then
nice.
I'm giving you a very, very Cliff Notes version of my life.
That's good. I like it. That's what we need. That's good.
Yeah. So that's the background.
Very good. So you two met in college.
Her postgraduate.
No. So Jaime was in law school.
Okay.
But in Miami. So good. She was there.
I stayed in Miami.
Okay. I got you. That's good. I guess you mentioned, Camilla, I think you mentioned your grandmother or your grandparents that you lived by. I know that's on your website. You go to your About Us page. It talks about kind of LYNKS and the blankets and your grandparents and the significance. Tell me about your relationship with them. How do they kind of factor into this business? Camilla, we'll start with you.
Um, so like I mentioned, I lived in Miami close to my grandparents. So my, whole adult life, I was very close with my grandparents, saw them weekly, and they've just been very influential in my life and my family's life. And it kind of started the LYNKS business, and the connection between the grandmothers is just that both of our grandmothers made us blankets for special occasions. So whether it's like birth of a new child or moving into a new home, we would always get blankets. And this happened with both my grandmother and Jamie's grandmother. And, those blankets, while very special and meaningful, and like love that they, came from them and their hands and their creativity, they kind of are more your typical grandmother's blanket. And Jamie and I loved the idea of putting a spin on it. And, one of our taglines is kind of like, not just your grandma's blanket, because we have these like amazing hot pink colors and different, just like a little edgier, I would say. So, your modern version.
You can see that on the website, which is great. And do they help you at all with the business at this point? No, totally separate. No,
the grandmothers.
No. Yes, grandmothers. Yes.
Oh no, unfortunately, my
not with us.
Not with us anymore. Yeah,
I got you.
You're not that young, Kyle.
That's fair point. Neither am I. Neither am I. So that's a great point. That's true. And I like
my grandmother still is alive.
That's true.
She is 96 years old, and she, unfortunately, although she's still spunky and around and giving us all her opinions and advice on life, her eyesight is not as great. I actually had her sit down with us one day, and I was like, Grandma, you're our new intern. You're going to help out.
96-year-old intern. I love it.
Yes.
And she started making it, and she goes, this hurts my back. I just came from Pilates, and I got all stretched out, and I feel so good, and I can't lean over and do this.
That's so good.
But she has seen them, and she enjoys them, and we have great photos of her with them. So yeah, she's awesome. She's aware of LYNKS.
That's good. When did the idea for the business come up? So you two know each other. You've got kind of this separate connection with your grandmas and the blankets. When's the first conversation about let's make a business out of this?
It was during COVID. It was, that lockdown kind of life. And I had seen these chunky knit blankets elsewhere. I thought, oh, those are beautiful. And I really want to try to make one myself. And I had my daughter do it with me. And she quickly ditched me, and I continued on. And then as life was happening, I made a few more. Camilla was one of the first people that, those first sightings out of COVID, and she would come over, and she loved it a lot and wanted to learn too. And so it just kind of spun from there. The more people caught on to it, more people were admiring them. And then we were invited to participate in our first show. It was a virtual show. And that was it. We got our act together, started all the, the things you need to open a business, whether it's, getting your EIN number and doing all the business tax registration, all that good stuff, and starting a website. And it was just, from then on, it just kept snowballing, and now here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested in all those things that you just you glossed over, the EIN number, the website.
Yes.
That's, as someone who started my own business around the same time, that stuff is brutal.
Yeah.
How did you two work through that? Just Googling, or did someone help you?
No,
what did you do?
I had, because of my background, I had some familiarity with what we needed to do in terms of forming an LLC, opening a bank account. You need to have this tax ID number, that registration. And between that and talking to our banker / accountant, making sure all of those boxes were checked off. That was really, I don't think I had to Google much, but Maybe I did. I don't remember.
Maybe you did. Who knows? Yeah, I
Hopefully
was
we
doing
did
a lot of
But you
Googling.
also did all that for the box as well, right?
Yeah, so just my
Yeah.
background. So just from practicing law and
Yeah.
starting another, like the box is my event space that I did the same thing with it 11 years ago.
Nice.
I'm just aware of those nuances that need to happen when you're official.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
believe you. I'm going to show how little I know about blankets right now. On your website, a couple times you mentioned chenille. What? Did I get it? Did I say it right? What?
Oh my God.
You're
This
hilarious.
is our new, wait, this is our, if we ever have a TV commercial, Kyle's going to be our
Okay, so I think that means I said it wrong.
Chenille something.
Chenille. I warned you I wasn't going to do it right.
I love it.
What-
We're not laughing at you.
You
We're
can't.
laughing
You can
at
laugh
you.
at me. I knew it was going to happen. What?
That's so
What does that
funny.
mean? Does that make your blankets a little bit different than other things? Tell me more about that and say the word correctly.
So it's chenille,
Chenille.
and it's basically
Can I go
the
grab one?
material that we use. So it's
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's
Why
show it.
not? Yeah.
Well, I'm right
So-
near a pillow. It's easier for me to grab a pillow.
Yep.
Chenille.
Chenille.
It's-
See, there
that's
you go.
chenille.
I got it
So
right.
it's like the softest, yummiest material.
It sure looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. Do you have a LYNKS that you want to show too? Do you know about our LYNKS?
I saw those. Yeah, I saw them on the show. Kind of the
One second.
accessories that you can put on. And you showed the pillow. We'll get into kind of all the products you offer, but
Yeah.
not just
So
blankets.
we
but
have
also pillows.
exactly. We have the pillow and then 3 sizes of the blankets, and this is our LYNKS.
Okay. Which is new, right? Is that one of your newer offerings?
Yes, we just came up with that new product line this year.
Okay.
We're excited about it. We just actually got off the phone we had an exciting call with a company where we might, partner, and it's just, it really lends to being able to customize or, brand for different companies. So like imagine, you put your golf logo on
Yeah.
there and stick it on, you get it on a blanket, but then you can take it off and put it on your golf bag,
Which is very
or,
cool. And you can choose the colors of a blanket for some of those custom options as well.
Yes. So we want to work with like colleges or companies or,
Nice.
any kind of like color targeted situation that we can brand would
Very
be
nice.
awesome.
That's good. So if we go back to COVID times and you're just kind of getting started, who's all making blankets for you at that time? Jamie, you said it was you, your daughter bailed. Is it Jamie, Camilla, just you two?
And Grandma bailed too.
And Grandma bailed, your 96-year-old intern bailed. That's right. So has it been, and to this point, is it mostly you two actually making these
It's
products?
mostly us.
Mostly
We
us.
do get some help here and there
Maybe
when
around the house
when our
help.
volume is high, but it's mostly us.
Right.
Okay, that's good. And where do you source all your materials from? The chenille. Did I say it right?
The chenille.
Yes.
Yep.
Where
got it.
are you sourcing that all from?
It's all over.
Yeah.
We've had mostly domestic, whether it's
Yep.
at your bigger box stores or smaller people who have, a special color that we really need. We've done some from overseas, some from Canada. You name it. It's been the LYNKS were sourced from every piece is from a different part of the world. It's really, it's
I got you.
kind of
So it's not
hodgepodge right
one.
now.
It's not one
No.
spot.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Okay,
No.
I got you. Very good. But how do you market these things? I ask because I want some advice too. I know, Camilla, you said you have a marketing background, but how have you marketed the business to this point? Camilla, I'll go to you.
Sure. So it really did start with these local shows that we've been luckily, invited to one that just kind of spiraled into several in the last couple of years, and we've made awesome connections through the shows that have led us to new shows or new, just opportunities. We do a lot on social media, so Instagram. We fight with Facebook, so
Mostly Instagram.
It's not real fight.
we definitely
Technical fights.
It's not
Yeah.
yeah.
good.
No, Facebook, Instagram, we have lofty goals to definitely expand our social media. I'd love to get on Etsy, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Could be great, just business aspect, and I think we'll start doing some paid advertisement through Google. Project Pitch
There you
It.
go. Which actually, that's a good. Let's get into that. Where did that start? Whose idea was it to apply for that? Kind of, what were all the steps to get there? Jamie, maybe I'll let you go down that path.
We had heard about it, and we applied. I don't know other
The
than
2-minute
that.
video. I remember recording my 2-minute video with my phone. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because we definitely practiced a lot. I mean, and like you just did it on your own,
Yep.
right? Do you have a partner? Okay. So like with us, like it's like, you had to do the back and
Oh,
forth
yeah.
and what we're gonna talk about and you figure out like who's gonna answer what questions. And so, we practiced a lot. We had a good time with it. It helped with like just pitching in general and understanding like, how much people want to hear and what they want to hear about.
Yeah.
And
And people will be able to see
yeah,
the episode soon.
it
So
was a
that's
good process. I
Absolutely.
enjoyed it.
That's good. To go back a little bit, you talked about the marketing, the website. One thing that I've found with kind of a physical product, getting really good pictures is really difficult for a website and for social media. This is a little bit specific, but I resonate with it because I have this trouble. How do you guys do that? How have you gotten really good product photographs?
We try to take pictures as much as possible on our own, but the truth is, whenever there's an opportunity for a professional photographer to be involved, those are always the winners. I mean, that's the way I feel. It's like we've been lucky enough to be included in some interior design, like home shoots here and there, or if we have a friend who's a professional photographer who's doing us a solid and taking some in their home or wherever. I'm trying to think. But then there's like cute candids that we've managed to pull off on our own. Like we were part of a little girl's birthday party with pillows and LYNKS, and there was a lot of energy and like fun shots that came out of that. So we really try to encourage people to tag us, post us, take good pictures, and there's a lot of pictures to choose from, and there's only so many that you love. Yeah,
exactly. The professional route is something we kind of resisted for a while, thought, we'll do it ourselves, but you're right, we found the same thing. They're
just
professionals for a reason.
They know what they're doing. I don't know. So what do you think?
Are you using professional photographers?
We have, we've done a balance, but most of the time professional. That's the something people should kind of do right away, I think, when they're starting business. Of just you're gonna have to go that route. It's a whole different world.
Yeah,
I agree. Makes sense. All right, we talked about the show. Let's see, what else, like what advice would you give yourself? You could go back to fall 2020. You're just starting this. What do you wish you knew then that you know now about starting a business in Wisconsin? Camilla, maybe I'll go to you first.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like we discussed this, Jamie.
I still feel like we're learning. I really do. Like I don't have that wisdom totally, quite yet. There are a few things though that we learned. I think when we started with this show, that we were in our first virtual show, and then it became another show, and whether you're at a fundraiser or a club or a school or whatnot, I think that we learned. Number one, how to network within that world. That world is a whole business model unto itself. And then to learn that like not everyone is going to be a home run. And there are some that we're better suited for that we're not. Like love craft shows and everything that they're about, but I don't think that LYNKS is that market. So
not a target demo.
Going forward, it's not somewhere where we should put our energy. But we wouldn't have known that had we tried a few out. So we have that wisdom now going forward, but we tested different products. We used to do wool blankets, and we realized over time we didn't love the way that they were shedding necessarily.
Wearing.
I don't know if shedding is the right word, but we've kind of narrowed our focus. We had a lot of sizes and materials, and I mean, it might seem like we still do, but we've narrowed it.
Less than there was originally. Yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense. The shows you talk about, how often are they? Like how often are one or both of you attending one of these shows?
October through December are like the bulk of them.
That makes sense, which is a busy season anyway, especially with 5 kids between the two of you and Christmas. So you must be wildly busy. I can't imagine. I saw on your website, Zinc the Zebra. Very cool story with that. Tell me more about that.
Basically, a little girl was diagnosed with cancer and went through chemotherapy and lost her hair. So she felt like she was a little bit bullied because she didn't look like the other kids, in her school, and wrote a book called Zinc the Zebra. And the zebra had spots instead of stripes. So it was just like, her way of explaining, and getting to her creative way of just dealing with feeling different than all the other kids. And that story really took off and became, besides a book, it became a whole program of anti-bullying. So Children's Hospital kind of took that program over, and it rolled into, it's called Act Now, and it's an anti-bullying program through Children's Hospital. And they're just basically, going into schools and teaching children about anti-bullying. And what we're doing is any black and white links that we sell, we give a percentage back to this program.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. So it's just a feel good, give back. And we want to do more and more with them and figure out how we can help out. I mean, just having, our kids, and knowing what it's like to be a kid, and especially now with like bullying, via social media, it's just so important.
Yeah.
It's just so important to be there for
Absolutely.
those kids.
Yeah. Awesome. That makes sense. We talked a little bit about all the different products that you offer. Maybe let's go through them again quick. So blankets are the main one. Jamie, I'll look at you as I ask these. What else? What else is on your website? What else can people order?
Sure. The blankets come in 3 different sizes. So right away, there's the collection, which they could choose like color combinations that we've already put out there, or they can contact us to customize a color combination. The pillows, same thing, lots of options color wise. That's also like a contact us and we can customize your product. And the linkets, same thing. We've got quite a variety of options on the linkets, and we can, other than a bunch of heart, star, smiley faces, for example, that we've got in our inventory, if you need a very special, a welcome home one, or got, something more specific, we could source that for you. Other than that, the blankets, the pillows, and the linkets, people could order gift cards. That's really it.
And you mentioned there was some new coming in 2023. Maybe that's kind of the custom things for colleges and businesses you had mentioned. Camilla, I think you mentioned that. Is that new for this year?
Right. So, I mean, we're taking the same products that we have in our product line, but we're trying to figure out how to specifically use them for corporations or colleges. So, like, University of Miami is green and orange. So we'll make you a green and orange pillow. We'll get a patch with the University of Miami Hurricanes, whatever that guy was, Ibis or something.
That's right, the bird. Yeah.
And I went there. I should know.
Right. Oh, good point. That's right.
Stick it on, and it's a great, either they have these bed parties now where they're like announcing what college that you're going to, or a graduation gift. It makes for a great gift for college students.
Very cool.
We want to work with sororities. I think that's like a great angle for us.
Oh yeah.
The big sister, little sister, they do gifts, and like there's color. It's just like the marketing towards the colors of all these organizations.
It makes sense. Like you said, people have connections to these blankets a lot, and something like that gives you even more of a connection, because now it's custom for me and it has something I recognize on it, which is very cool.
Yeah.
The product seems very unique. Do you have any competition? I ask this question because I make golf polos and there's a bajillion competitors.
Yeah.
Is there competitors you look at? Yeah, Jamie.
I mean, I think that the chunky knit blanket, there's a reason why I knew what it was and why I wanted to make one initially in lockdown. They're not, we haven't like created anything unique with the chunky knit blanket. However, we have definitely created our own custom version of it, in that we have like a color blocking kind of vibe going on. We add a fun faux fur palm. These pillows that we make, they're a unique size. They're different backings. It's really just in the styling of them. It's not the we didn't invent that stitch, so it's just how we branded it.
The boldness of them and that they can customize it a little bit. That
Right.
seems like the big differentiators. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And the link it is
That
Jamie's baby. The link.
That is completely. So sorry.
That's true.
That's a very good point. The link it is what I showed you here. This detachable, reversible charm that actually links to your LYNKS blanket or pillow is definitely unique. We have not seen anyone else doing anything like this.
Yeah, I had never seen that either when I was on your website. That
so
seems
it's kind
like
of
a big
like
time.
a charm blanket or a charm pillow, and you can take it on and off as you want. You can trade them. You can buy 1 million of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do whatever kind
Something
of patch
different.
you want.
That's good. I have a question that make it personal. We'll see. So you're partners in this. How does that work? Has there been times when it's difficult for you? I have 2 co-founders in my own business, and it sounds great. Do a business with your friends. There's times you butt heads on things. How's that process been for you, starting a business together?
So far, I mean, yeah, I can answer personally that I think it's been, we're a good yin and yang. We work well together. I think our communication is strong, and I mean, personally for me, it's been great.
Yeah.
Jamie can tell you.
I totally agree. I will tell you, my other business, I also have a business partner that's another dear friend of mine. And it's kind of very different businesses, but we have a similar dynamic where there's something like she shines in and I take a back seat and vice versa. And it's so nice to always have somebody to bounce ideas off of. We like completely adore and respect one another. We have a lot of fun together. It's like sometimes we're sitting at these shows like wondering what's going on, and we make each other laugh, and we have a good time, and we get excited about things that are exciting for us, and we can commiserate over things that maybe aren't going so well. But I have found that it's been a good match. Yes,
that's good. That's a good point of bouncing ideas off other people.
It makes
it's not
such
just
a difference.
You've got a sounding board.
It does.
It
does.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I remember a very close friend of mine had her own business, and I remember her saying, like, I just wish I had a partner just to like talk through things, because you can't always go to your spouse or your friend that just is not like fully invested. So
I know a lot of the big time like Silicon Valley incubators won't even take you unless you have a partner for exactly that reason. Someone else who's kind of bounced ideas.
Right. And also to pick up the pieces. I mean, when you're alone, like, and you travel, like you can't just say like, can you take over?
We're shut down for 2 weeks. I'm in Jamaica. Yeah, that's not allowed so much. Maybe a reach on this one, but have you had any stories with the blankets that kind of pulled at your heartstrings? It seems like people, these are so meaningful to them. For a new baby, is there any blanket you made where it was like, wow, this is super fulfilling because this is a great story?
Yeah. Well, I've had 3 blankets that have actually been made for breast cancer survivors, and not just survivors, but like literally going through the treatments. One was, this girl was buying one for her sister who was going through chemo. Someone else bought one for her cousin. And then a friend of mine I just actually sent to, she's going through it personally herself. And the thought of, while we're making the blanket, knowing that it's going to then be comforting her in the end. And, while she sits and like warms her up just while she's freezing during treatment, like makes me feel so good. And it's like a silly little blanket, but it's like sometimes the only thing you can do for the person. Like, what else can you do? Make them a pot of soup and a blanket to
blanket lasts longer. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly.
And we did it. All 3 of them are white with hot pink.
Oh, nice.
And the breast cancer color of pink. So it's like it's just it's like, again, brings in that color distinction.
And aside from those people, I'm remembering that's very true. We had a few strangers, like random people during holiday time, show times, that they would purchase one for that very reason also. Like, I have a friend or a sister or a mother or whomever going through this, and this would be perfect. So, yeah.
Which is, I can't imagine, all those hard moments of getting the business up and running and the struggles. And then you have one moment like that. It's like, oh, this was all worth it for moments like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I do have to say, like, being, small business, local, Milwaukee, like it's just cool to watch the whole, process, I guess I don't know, for lack of a better word, like we're working with the clients to figure out what colors they want. They're sending us pictures of their homes. We're deciding on the color, and then we're actually physically making it ourselves, wrapping it up, and then delivering it to the home where it's going to live, and it's like just leaving it on the doorstep over Christmas time and like seeing the lights and like,
We're like little elves.
it's just, I like being the little elf.
The
I
little
like
elf.
it. It's like, it's fun. It feels good.
That's good. I like an elf themed one. How do you scale this though? It's you two making it, it seems like as there's more and more of these, how do you
That's a good question.
Yeah, maybe there's not an answer yet, but what are you thinking?
A question we often get.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Which maybe you don't need to scale, but anyway, what are your plans?
No, we want to scale. I mean, just even the last call we had speaking with this company, like it gets us excited and we're ready to scale. And we've been talking with some manufacturers here. We've been, we have talked to China as well. We're trying to stay away from China. Like my goal would be to employ as many local people here as possible. Like that would be more satisfying personally to me than like working with China.
Even
but
more
sometimes
fulfilling,
that's not, as easy as
it
that.
sounds.
So
Absolutely.
we're kind of figuring it
on
out.
a smaller scale of scaling up. We're trying to be smarter about not having too much inventory, not having too little inventory, maybe getting some started that are, a popular base color, let's say, so that we can quickly finish them off with if somebody wants a pink edge or a navy edge or what have you. So before we talk, a factory, a distribution center, and employing, many people there, that's our own little way of scaling right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Scale slowly. Don't get into
Which I like. I'm loving the idea of being prepared for any kind of demand, because as Jamie knows, I'm always like, what if there's crazy demand?
And what is my answer?
We will figure that out.
That'll be our problem.
That'll be a good problem. Yeah.
Let that be our problem. But I love the idea of being a little prepared with with the base color done, and then we can add the edge, and then the sustainability issue is kind of near and dear to my heart. Like I do like that it's made to order and that we don't have tons of inventory. I mean, we work out of our homes, not like we have a huge amount of storage anywhere. So it's been working for us.
Very good. Fantastic. Well, I will say I was on your website last night looking at this, and
Did you buy anything?
My wife was staring over my shoulder pointing at things she wanted. So you're probably going to see an order coming through from me today.
You may get a friends and family.
Now we're talking podcast discount. That's good.
Before you place that order, let's talk offline.
Well, we can do that. We'll get a custom old-fashioned golf one. I like it. So your website, we haven't said yet, but links-shop.com, links being LYNKS, and your social media at links.shop. You said primarily Instagram. So if people want to go take a look, there you go.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool. As someone who's been through a journey on similar timeline to you, we started in COVID too. Huge respect for everything you did between having kids at home, creative product, COVID, I mean, all kinds of things. To get on Project Pitch It, to do what you're doing, awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Thank
Kyle.
you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you all for joining us today for the Project Pitch It podcast. Looking forward to telling you a lot more stories like this. We're going to have a lot more meetings and conversations with entrepreneurs, moguls, creators, people that are part of this amazing Wisconsin startup community. Excited and looking forward to it. Thank you, Wisconsin.